Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today I want to go over everything that you should know in order to score well in the upcoming Scourge event, which will be starting later on at Store Reset today. Aside from having a big roster, of course, you know, as big as you can, I have done a great deal of math when it comes to calculating how you're going to get to the particular score thresholds to unlock Morgan, and also clear the milestone at the 1 million mark, and just generally what you can expect when it comes to score, depending on your difficulty that you choose. We'll also be going over some of the Scourges and how they impact that score. If you guys remember, I had a spreadsheet categorizing the various Scourges in the difficulty that I and some Twitch followers believe that they were in. So I've updated this from last time, if you guys saw it last week, and we'll be covering this as well. They actually reduced the total amount of Scourges by 9. There were 8 or 9 Scourges that were removed, so we'll also talk about what they got rid of. So hopefully by the end of this video, you guys have a better understanding of the event coming, so you know what to do and what your expectations will be in terms of score and how to get there. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. And before we take a look at the math and the spreadsheets, I just want to go over the actual tab again, once again, the Scourge milestone tabs. So basically, there's 3 things that you gotta know before you even start, is that in order to unlock Morgan, you need to get to milestone 14, and that is 70 shards. That so allows you to rank, and so the lowest ranking reward will give you enough shards to get her unlocked after the payout. So 425k points, that's where you need to be at a bare minimum to get her unlocked. Now, if you want to get her unlocked early and use her, you know, within the Scourge event or whatever, then you need to get to 500k milestone 17, which gets you the extra shards that you need to unlock her before the milestone payouts happen. And it's actually 40 shards, so 425k is actually 60 shards. Milestone 17 is 100 shards. And then that 500k is going to get you that early unlock. Now, if you want to clear the entire milestone, though, you're going to need all the way up to 1 million. And we'll talk about that when we go through the spreadsheets in order to figure out how you're going to get there. So in terms of the ranking, though, you know, like, I can't tell you what score or what points are going to get what ranking. We honestly have no idea. Right, this has never run before, so, you know, I can't say that, you know, getting a million score is going to get you 1 to 2%, 3 to 4%, 5 to 6, or whatever. But as far as the milestones go, I believe that the way how it's worked, people asked this question before, the rankings of 1 to 5,000, essentially all of this stuff above, that gets removed from the percentages, from what I understand. So the way that they score 1 to 2%, really this should be like 0 to 2%. Some people were asking that as well. It's the top 2% here is what it is. What I'm assuming that this is actually 0 to 2%, not 1 to 2%. It's kind of like that top 2%. And so that's going to be without the 5,000 that's above there in that calculation. And that's what I'm just assuming that it's going to be. You know, that makes the most sense to me. And these are apparently first time event rewards, these in the middle. So this is in multiples of 15, but they're only first time from what I understand. So when the event comes around for a second pass, whenever that is, it's not going to contain these shards in the center. So those of us who are getting that head start on the event is going to get more shards than they would have normally. But you don't qualify for these until you're in the top 16%. So if you're not, then you're not really benefiting from this, I guess, is to say. And so the bottom payout here is at 40 shards. This is what I mean. You need to get the 425k. This allows you to get the 40 shards here, and that's how you're going to get the unlock, the 60 plus the 40. That's going to give you the 100 shards there. Now, if you want to score better, of course, then you need to get to 26 to 30%. If you want the 4-star, and then if you want the 5-star, it's somewhere up here. I believe it's 5 to 6% here, because there's 100 shards in the milestone, plus 150, plus 60. That's 310. So you need to get the top 6%. If you want to get a 5-star. So keep that in mind. But as far as how much points you need to score to get there, well, I'm not sure. But we're going to go over exactly how you're going to get points and what the best thing that you can do is. And so for that, we need to pivot over to the Excel sheet that I have. Now, it's quite lengthy, but this is going to be in the comments down below. It's also going to be on my Discord channel. So if you want to take a look at this later, please do. We're going to go over this one by one and kind of explain what the heck is going on, first of all. So we're going to start at the top. These are all the Scourges for the Pestilence event. Now, I have this listed for the score modifiers. There's a lot going on here, but we're going to go through it together. Also, I've removed some of the scourges, but I have them listed down below which ones they did remove, just for sheer curiosity if anyone wanted to know. And so I have these separated into difficulty ranks. So the green here, this is all the what I would call difficulty rank 1. And these are the easier scourges. These are the ones that you should consider if you're wanting to add scourges on to get a higher score. But first of all, step 1, choose your difficulty. Whether it's difficulty 4, 5, 6, 7, or for some hardcore Cthulhus who probably aren't even needing to watch my video, difficulty 8. You know, that's the first thing that you need to do, is you need to clear a run where you're most comfortable. You know, if you can clear difficulty 6 and it was no problem, then go try difficulty 7. And if you can't clear difficulty 7, then that's where you need to go back to difficulty 6 to do some scourges. So when you can fully clear a run or a difficulty and you can't go any higher, that's when you start adding on scourges. And that's where we get to the point that we're going to be in this video and how we're going to be scoring more, because that's most important. So some things I want to lay out is the base points that you get from the various difficulties. For the purposes of this video, we're largely going to be talking about difficulties 4 through 7, although I suspect a lot of players, a lot of the ones who are trying to be competitive are going to be in the difficulty 5 to 7, but 4 will also get you an unlock for Morgan. It'll just be a little bit harder. So starting at difficulty 4, the base points for clearing a run with no scourges, 291k. You can see it up here. Difficulty 5, 416k and some change. Difficulty 6, 594.5k. And difficulty 7, 849k. And then difficulty 8, if you somehow manage to do this, 1.2 million. And the reason why this is important is because we'll find out exactly the thresholds that you need to make. So the 425k, the 500k, and then the 1 million. And then after that, really, it's as much points as you can possibly get. Now, at least for difficulty 7, one scourge point is worth 1,870. And how do I know that? Is because when you click on one of the scourges and it adds the scourge point, it gives you an 1,870 score modifier in difficulty 7, which is 0.22% of the total score. That actually carries over in all of the difficulties. So I've been able to calculate exactly how many points each scourge, how many milestone points you're getting per scourge point. So for difficulty 4, that's 640. For difficulty 5, it's 920. For difficulty 6, it's 1310. For 7, it's 1870. And for 8, it's 2670. Now, why is this important? It's because each scourge has a point valuation. I have this categorized from lowest to highest, but also this is by easier to hardest. So if that makes sense, like I said, this green, these are some of the easier scourges. So these are the ones that you're going to want to look at first. Say, plop these on and be like, yep, these ones are, in my opinion, some of the more easier ones. Now, these ones here in the middle, they're also numbered here in terms of where you're going to find them in the listing in the game. But the points here, this is the medium difficulty ones. These are like, nah, you're going to have to think about which ones you want to add on. You can see the different point values here too. So 3, 5, 7, 10 as they go up higher. That doesn't necessarily mean it's harder, actually, because as you see here from up here, that there are some that I would say are a little bit easier but have a higher point valuation, so you might want to consider some of these. And then down here, these are the ones, these in the gray, I'll zoom in a little bit, are the ones that you probably won't ever use. I think they're some of the hardest in the game. You can read it in the chart itself here. Poisoned energy, for example. When a player character gains ability energy, each enemy deals 80% piercing damage to that character, which I think is a shit ton of damage. When a character's health drops below 50% max health, apply trauma to them. That's a really bad one. On enemy turn, they gain offense up, and on turn, apply heal block to player characters. All of these are very bad. You can see that most of them are worth a lot of points, with the exception of Poisoned Energy 1 is actually only worth 3 points. I still wouldn't do it. But the reason why this is all important is down below, because I've calculated here, down here, if you were to add on all of the scourges, how much points would you get? Well, for difficulty 4, you would get 447k. For all of the scourges at difficulty 4. Once again, it's very unlikely that you're going to be running all of the scourges, because honestly, they're going to F you up. Just most likely, they're going to F you up. So typically what you'd want to do is you would want to move on to the next difficulty. So if you're clearing difficulty 4, no problem, move on to difficulty 5. If you can clear difficulty 5, no problem, move on to difficulty 6, and so on, right? But you can see how the points are added up. So we had the base points above. you know, at the top of the sheet here. But this is with you adding all of the Scourges on. 700k for difficulty 5 all Scourges, 1 million for difficulty 6 all Scourges, 1.438 million for difficulty 7 all Scourges, and 2 million or so for difficulty 8 all Scourges. Why is this important? Well, you can kind of see like what the range or the maximum range might be if you were to hypothetically stack this all on. And so why is this important? Some people were also asking, well, you know, if I do difficulty 5 with all the Scourges, will I get more points than the base value of difficulty 6? And the answer is yes, because I calculated this up, and based on the points you get, so 706k, this is roughly all of the Scourges for difficulty 5, and the base value of difficulty 6 is 594.5k. So yeah, it is higher. And that's why the percentages are here. So it's roughly around, except for difficulty 4, the others are actually about 19% higher if you were to use all of the Scourges. What that means, though, is that essentially to get the same grade or the same point value, you're going to have to do about 80% of the total Scourges. And that's a lot. And so it usually just makes more sense just to go up the difficulty and add some Scourges on there. Now, the total amount of Scourge points is actually 305. So I calculated all of the individual Scourges, their point values, what they're worth. I added them all up, and how many total Scourge points is that worth? Well, it's 305. And why is that important? Because if you take the values up here that we talked about, the difficulty points, and how much each point, a single point, is worth, then you can take 305 and multiply it by this value, and that gives you the total amount of extra points that you can get. And so you can calculate that here. I have how much points at each of the difficulty levels that these Scourges are worth. All I did was take the numbers here in the categories, so like 5, and I multiplied this by 640, by 920, and you get the point values that they're worth at the various difficulties. And that's really important to know how to min-max your total and how you're going to get there. So first of all, like I said, step 1, choose your difficulty. And then make sure you understand like how far you can go or which difficulty you can do a clean run of before you start adding the Scourges. And then I recommend you taking a look at some of this charts here, the data with the numbers, with the milestone points, and then think about which ones you want to add. Again, I would take a look at some of these ones here, and I would probably choose from this list first before you move on to this list, which is a little bit more challenging. Some of them do offer more points, but a good place to start would be in this green table, and then moving on to this afterwards if you so desire. Now, what's interesting here, how do you reach the 425k, 500k, and 1 million thresholds, which are important for this event? Well, and again, 425k, this means that you unlock Morgan with the leaderboard. 500k, you unlock without the leaderboard, you get it right away. 1 million, that's the entire milestone for all the rewards. So how do you get to 425k? Well, that's difficulty 4 plus 209 Scourge points. Now you can see that there's a total of 305 Scourge points. So this is essentially like 2/3 of all of the total Scourges. Or you can run difficulty 5 with 10 Scourge points, which is a lot less, right? So that makes a bit more sense there. So honestly, would you rather do 2/3 of all the total Scourge points or just run difficulty 5 with like a couple Scourges? You should probably just do that. Just wanted to make that point. And of course, difficulty 6 is well over there. How do you get 500k? Difficulty 5 plus 92 Scourge points, or a clean run of difficulty 6. And that's going to get you over 500k, because a clean run of difficulty 6 is going to get you 594.5k. So that's well over the 500k threshold. Now, how do you get to 1 million? So that's going to require almost all of the Scourges maxed here with difficulty 6. Or difficulty 7 with 81 or so Scourge points. And that's just under 1/3 of the total amount of Scourge points that are available. Or a clean run of difficulty 8. I think that difficulty 8 is going to be challenging for the vast majority of the players here. I think the bulk of the players who care or are going to try on this event are going to be within that difficulty 4 through 7 threshold. For me personally, I'm going to be running a clean run of difficulty 6, and then going to try a clean run of difficulty 7, and then see where I land. The reason why I'm going to do 6 is because that's going to get me the Morgan unlock right away, so at least I can get that out of the way. I can get her unlocked and whatever in my roster, and great. And then from there, that's when I'm going to try to do more on that difficulty 7 stage. Now, there's some notes here. So if you max the Scourges, you can get approximately 19% more. We talked about that in the next plane run, except for in difficulty 4. So just move on to the next difficulty. This does not include the supposed efficiency modifiers that exist. So depending on how many turns per node that you take, you lose a little bit of score. From what I understand, though, from people I've been talking to, that this is actually fairly negligible, and so where you're going to get the majority of the points is actually going to be from which scourges you use. I don't think that the efficiency modifier is that crazy that it's going to impact your score enough. So it may impact those people like the top 5%, top 0.5% of the players, you know, those people looking for like the top 500 score, those kind of people who may be competing with others for the same scourges and where those turns might matter. But for the rest of us, it probably won't. Some of the ones I want to talk about, the scourges that they got rid of, for those who followed my last video. Resolute Foe. When one non-summoned enemy character remains in play, you know, this is a pretty useless one. They gain all these buffs. Phoenix stays in the ashes. Player characters cannot revive. Again, pretty pointless one. They got rid of that. Weak Opener. On spawn, apply Disrupt to player characters. Devil's Bargain 3. When a player character gains a positive effect, apply offense down. Rubber. Player characters take % of the damage they deal. That was removed. Time damping. All turn meter modifiers are reduced by X%. So that would have been like definitely the Eternals. So I'm kind of glad that they got rid of this one because that would have been a tough one to use. Vile Tribute. On enemy death, they gain offense up, which was supposedly, you know, all of the enemies, I guess. Late for work. A random player character is delayed from spawning until one player character dies. And then NYI out of control. This was a huge one. Players cannot field controller characters. So I'm kind of glad they got rid of that one too. I wouldn't have used it anyways. And then finally, Vile Revenge. On enemy death, clear all positive effects from player characters. So they removed a total of 6, 10? Actually, so 10. That brings us total down to 29, actually. So all of these are 29. You know, I apologize if you're watching this on a phone or something. You can't see the spreadsheet super clearly here. But basically, I really want people to take a look at this. I'm going to have this available in the description down below. And I'm also going to have it in my Discord channel where you can see this and you can look at it on your own time. And, you know, feel free to share this with your alliance mates if you find it helpful. I really hope it does. You know, especially if you're trying to min-max some of your score. Once you get to that area where you're comfortable with in terms of the difficulty runs, whether it's 5, whether it's 6, whether it's 7, whatever. And this helps you kind of increase your score a little bit more, but also think about which of the scourges are more difficult than others. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. I really hope this is helpful, and if it was, please like and subscribe to this video. Like and subscribe to my channel, because I'm trying to hit the 10,000 subscriber mark. I've been pushing really hard for this, so any extra subscriptions out there, if you haven't already, please click on that button down below. And of course, everyone, good luck on the Scourge events. If you have anything else to say, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. I'll also be doing some live streaming, probably for Thursday. My usual stream time is normally on Wednesday, but I'm moving this to Thursday, and we'll probably be doing a lot more Scourge running up on Twitch as well, and I may post some videos from that too. So good luck, everyone. I hope you all get Morgan Le Fay, and I hope that this was helpful. So good luck, everyone, and Boilon signing out.